Happy Sunday, everybody. It's hashtags Showcase Sunday. And here we have the outstanding Suzanne Roynon from interiourstherapy.com. Now, Suzanne, may I get you to introduce yourself? Tell me who you are, what you do, and why you do it.
For sure. So I'm Suzanne Roynon. I'm an interiors therapist and Feng Shui expert. I work internationally, so across the UK, Europe, into America and to Australia and New Zealand. Feng Shui has been part of my life for over 30 years, and I'm around to help clients create happier, healthier, more supportive homes and businesses, and I love to do it.
Fantastic. And those who are asking, because I always feel like I've got an earpiece into all my clients and future clients' ears. For those who are asking, what is Feng Shui? Can
Okay,
you
so
describe that? Is that
Feng
okay?
Shui is an Oriental science. Now, people might think, oh, Feng Shui, I've heard of that. It's a bit woo. No, Feng Shui is, when done properly, the traditional way, is a science. And it was used by the elite across thousands of years in order to keep them in an elite space, to keep them wealthy, to keep them in charge, in positions of power, to make sure that they made the right romantic liaisons. And it was only at the sort of second part, maybe from the 1960s onwards, when China specifically started cracking down on the elite and what was available to the elite, that many of the feng shui masters made the escape from China and the Far East and came across to the west coast of America, so Seattle, Oregon, California, and started to talk about this traditional practice of feng shui, which helped homes and businesses to thrive and prosper. But of course, the Americans struggled with the concept of the time that a home was born and the compass direction it faced in and all the complexities, which, it takes years of training to do traditional feng shui. So they made a very, very simple version, which said, oh, look, here's the front door. The energy comes through your front door. These are the areas, your wealth area is back left, your relationship area is back right. Oh, then we've sorted out. We've done the American version, which, to be honest, and I've used both. I'm trained in both. I used what we call Western, the American version of feng shui, for the best part of 25 years to success. But it was only when I realized that an apartment doesn't have the same ability to work with Western feng shui, and I retrained in traditional feng shui, that it was like supercharging everything. It just took off. And I thought, oh my goodness, what could have happened in my life, in the lives of my clients, if I had had access to this stuff 25 years ago? So now I only use this traditional feng shui method to enhance lives, relationships, businesses in all kinds of ways with my clients. So yes, that's feng shui in a nutshell. And just to move that on a little bit, because let's go for this.
Yeah.
People use feng shui for all sorts of reasons. Now, the big companies like Mandarin Oriental Group, Amazon, Coca-Cola, Apple, HSBC, they all use it to increase their profits.
Wow.
Simple as. But people like Oprah Winfrey, George Clooney, Georgina Rodriguez, Victoria Beckham, they will use it as a domestic level because they know it supports their success and their relationships. But you see, those, if you think about it, those are back again to the elites. They know that they can tap into this phenomenal energy, which is available in every single building for the good.
Yeah.
Lots of people, some people, certain Donald Trump
Yeah.
also uses feng shui. What gave him his meteoric rise to power? What did he use for Trump Tower? He used feng shui. Did he use it for his current residence? No. Interesting.
Oh.
Interesting. But, so people use it to draw in power. I like to use it for the good. Some people use it in order to get the edge on their competitors. So yeah, basically I combine Feng Shui with something called interiors therapy, which supercharges the process even more. And those 5 stages of interiors therapy, when connected with the Feng Shui, will just change the energy and the vibrancy of a home or business to such a degree that you look back and you just think, how was I ever living the way it was before?
Wow. Wow. And it's interesting because you have got lots of people who say that they are doing feng shui. And you've got decluttering people, you've got all sorts of different businesses out there who are doing not similar things, but not far off similar things, like the Western version. So, what is unique and different about you? What is your unique selling point? What is your unique value proposition again, as opposed to your competition?
So yes, you're absolutely right. There are people out there who do decluttering. There are people out there who do organizing. There are people out there who do feng shui. What I do with interiors therapy is I go a lot deeper. So interiors therapy has got 5 key areas to it. The first part is to get clarity about the things that you have around you, the impact on your space. So for example, if you inherit a home, say from your parents, and you've still got things which connect to your parents around you, you're absorbing their energy in one way or another. But the thing is, that energy, that latent energy, is also in the home. So if you inherit a really happy family home and you don't change it much, you will probably still find that you have a happy family home. But if you inherit a home that is desperately unhappy, or there's been sort of traumatic relationships or anything like that, then you're likely to have that continuing with you. But the thing is, it's not just about the home, it's about the possessions. You might have something like one of my lovely American clients bought a beautiful, a really gorgeous antique mirror in a yard sale. And she put this on her wall. But she never then felt comfortable in that room. She couldn't understand why until she worked with me. And I said, well, tell me about it. Where did it come from? Oh, she said, it's the yard sale of a lady who committed suicide.
Oh,
So,
heck.
what had that mirror seen? What had that mirror absorbed and experienced? So we got rid of that mirror there and then. Now, since that point, that lady's life has just transformed. She moved out of that place. She then got a big financial windfall. When we worked together, she thought the concept of love, marriage, a family was over for her. And earlier this month, she had a baby.
Oh,
And that, it just gave me goosebumps when she called me up and she said, I want you to be introduced to my baby boy. And he would not be here if we had not done that work together. That's epic. So getting the clarity about what's around you is the first thing. Then you identify what's genuinely clutter, and clutter is absolutely unique to every person. So you can't just, walk in and say, oh, well, that Tupperware pot's clutter, but that vase on the mantelpiece is, it's a precious heirloom. Because actually, if you hate that vase, if that vase reminds you of somebody you were married to, or somebody you really didn't like, or is just pug ugly, that is bringing you down at a subconscious level every single day. So that's clutter. It
yeah.
might be worth £5,000. Great, sell it to somebody who wants it. Don't keep it in your house. So once we've dealt with, identifying the clutter, then we clear it. We bring in positive new energy into the space by getting short of anything which isn't supportive. But you see, the thing is, if you just do the clearing, and this is where, doing a bit of decluttering can backfire on people. So you do the clearing, you spend hours, you spend weeks decluttering, and it's all lovely. And then 6 weeks later, the clutter's back again.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
Aristotle says that nature abhors a vacuum, and it does, because if you don't bring in new positive energy into that space, all you're going to draw back is clutter. And so that is where energetically clearing the space, and I use a form of space clearing for that, and then bringing in the really strong positive energy with Feng Shui. And this is elemental. This is remedies which include wood, water, metal, earth, and fire. You put those in place, and suddenly your house or your business goes, wow, this is cool. Let's keep bringing in the good stuff. Thank you very much. And then the final part of the process is to create the life that you want, because once you've cleared all the dross and debris from your past, you're opening up the way to manifest, use the law of attraction, or set your goals, whichever, tunes in with your thinking. Whether it's for your business, whether it's for your home, whether it's for your love, your lifestyle, all of those things, you are then drawing that energy to you in a space that is going to support you to do it. So that's where, I'm quite different from doing a bit of decluttering.
Fantastic. And that really made me think, because I've got a lamp that reminds me of my grandmother. It was hers, and it's the only thing I took away from her home when she passed. And it means a lot to me, because it was the lamp that I always switched on whenever I went round there. It made me happy. And then I thought, is that something that shouldn't be there? It's questionable, isn't it? And it gets you thinking. And I went goose pimply when you said about the lady with the suicide mirror and then having a baby. It's incredible the different energy changing people's lives. So,
Yes.
can I ask you, what do you do that would help and be relevant? Because all of this would be incredibly relevant in the hospitality industry without a shadow of a doubt, right now and in the future. And I know we're just coming out of the time where everybody tends to start refurbishing, renovating. That normally happens in January, so all the workmen are really, or work women, are very busy supporting the industry to get back up to speed. What would you certainly, what do you do, but what is relevant, and what would help them right now?
So it will always pay to understand how the Feng Shui works within a property. But the first part of ever doing that is to understand the basic property type. So there are 4 main property types. First one is a place that's good for people and good for money. So in business terms, this is excellent for your staff. This is excellent for your turnover. You'll be popular. You'll get great publicity. You'll be a destination that people choose to come to. And, it's like you've got all of your ducks in a row and it's really working for you. So that's the number 1. Number 2 is a place that is good for money, but it's bad for people. So you're gonna get the money in, but your turnover of staff, your sickness levels, general unhappiness, and a lack of motivation is going to be an issue. And that can ultimately bring a business down, because frankly, if you don't have the staff and the determination to make a business succeed, well, it doesn't matter how good your money energy is, because you're not going to be able to open your doors and have happy clients, because your staff are going to be miserable.
Yeah.
The next one is a place that is good for people, but it's bad for money. And this is kind of the polar opposite. You've got your amazing staff, they're motivated, they're healthy, everybody is so impressed by the support and investment of your staff, but the money just doesn't come in. And even if the money does come in, you'll get bills, the dishwasher will break, something else will happen. So disaster financially. But then the last building or house type is one that's bad for people and bad for money. And, that does what it says on the tin. You'll have an unhappy staff, the money won't come in. In a home, you'll have potential sickness, divorce, relationship challenges, problems with the kids, problems financially, they're all exacerbated. It's kind of this awful scenario that you're living with. Now, if I say to you that before I got properly involved in traditional feng shui, I moved into an apartment that at surface level, stunningly beautiful, spacious, great views, great size, everything going for it. But I moved in and it was a disaster. It was a disaster financially. It put immense pressure on my relationship, my daughter's relationship. It was terrible. So I got the feng shui done, the traditional feng shui, and we balanced it out. And within a couple of months, my daughter's engaged. My business has taken off. I've written a best-selling book. It's won awards, and it's just like, okay, this is good. And then, you know, the icing on the cake, you know, a really, really significant financial windfall, which is just like, yes, thank you very much. I am never, ever, ever going back on having my traditional feng shui done. So in terms of getting the house type, understanding the building type, that is the first thing to do, because then everything else starts to make sense. And, you know, this is where it's like having power to your elbow. Oh my goodness. Yeah, actually, the reason that this building, you know, this place has failed, and, you know, on a confidential level, if you think about the town you live in, there will be a business that, you know, the building had a business in, it failed. A new business came in, it failed. Another one came in, completely different, it failed. That is a place that is going to have bad for money and bad for people energy. Now, you can fix it if you know what you're doing. But if you don't, you're just throwing yourself into that same bad for energy, and you're going to have the same outcome as those other businesses before you. So, just to sort of clarify on that, I have been working with one of my Australian colleagues on a hotel on the south coast of England. Now, this hotel had this massive refurb. It had been really great, very popular. It had a massive refurb, and that changed the energy of it. And within a year, it had gone bust. A spectacular place, beautiful, beautiful in every way, shape, or form. Interior design, style. I mean, just an incredible place to visit. But the energy had changed. So we went in and we did the feng shui. And before we had even finished doing it, people were coming up the steps and asking to check in.
Wow.
Walk-ins, which they'd never had before. So the upshot of that is they've got a much happier, more cohesive staff. They've got bookings, you know, they were fully booked, I think, for January and February when I last checked, which is amazing this time of year.
Wow.
And then on the back of that, they asked us to do another of the hotels in their group, which was terribly exciting for us. But, you know, we're also looking, we're in negotiations to do a place in Bali. You know, I'm off to the south of France in May to help somebody do the feng shui of a new Airbnb so that they get great money and the right kind of clients in for it, because you want the right clients in hospitality. You don't want people who are going to trash your space. So you tune the energy to the people that you want to draw in. And then that's on top of the Airbnbs and the retreats that we've done in the UK. So, you know, every location can use some positive energy, and you want to motivate and support your staff. You know, don't block off that positive energy.
And I think the winning golden nugget there is you can change whatever it was by putting all these elements that you mentioned in the right place at the right time. And interesting, you know, every one of us can actually think of a place in, like, I live in Windermere, and I know of one particular shop that doesn't seem to last, and we think, what's happening there? And that'll be
it's got
exactly
sticky feng shui energy.
Yeah.
It's Windermere, for goodness sake. You know, you think of the tourist traffic that comes through Windermere. How can it be that one business after another fails? And that's because the energy of the building that they are going into is not supportive of business, and it will have been breaking hearts for years.
Yeah.
And so for me, you know, I'm thinking there's an amazing restaurant in town here, which in the 6 years I've lived in this town has had 4 different owners. And the current guy, amazing. He is an absolute artisan with what he does. But the staff turnover is bonkers. And you go in there and it just doesn't feel comfortable. Now, people come to me. I'm not going to walk in there and say, hey, Claude, you need to sort out your feng shui, because Claude's going to look at me and think I'm absolutely bonkers. But if
Send him
somebody
a
says,
link.
well, you know, if somebody says, you know, it just doesn't feel right, I don't want to go there anymore,
Yeah.
then, you know, we've all been into those places which
Yeah.
you walk in and you think, oh, no, thanks, I want
Yeah.
to get out of here. That
Wow.
happens in homes, it happens in businesses. If you're unlucky enough to set up your coffee shop or your hotel and somebody walks in and it gives them the willies, they won't stay.
Yeah.
And you'll
Yeah.
get bad reviews and, you know, all of those aggravating things that, you know, damage businesses. So it's
Wow.
just, to me, yes, it's an investment to get your feng shui done. Absolutely. And yes, you have to update it slightly every year, which isn't such an investment. It's a turnover thing. But if you do that, you have got all of those ducks lined up to support you. And when you work with somebody who, you know, it's not just a sort of checkbox exercise. So I get to know all of my clients. I can go through, I find out the directions of their home, and I've got a list of things which can be triggered in an unremedied place.
Yeah.
So, you know, there might be a combination that says, you know, risk of knife crime, risk of sexual assault against women, you know? So I'm thinking there's a place in Atlanta that I helped somebody else out on, and they had had an awful lot of inappropriate behavior, both by staff and guests. We looked at the feng shui, and sure enough, right outside the ladies' loo was this energy that said risk of sexual assault against women. So we put the remedy in and it changed. And now it's, you know, they've even changed the whole layout in order to make sure that nobody is hanging around in this area, but they've put their remedies in too. There's not been a sexual assault there since.
Wow.
You know, that's quite something.
It's massive.
Quite
That's
rowdy
powerful.
bar.
Yeah. That's very powerful.
Mm.
Now, the next thing, Suzanne, it's what I ask every person who comes on our Showcase Sunday is, whilst they're waiting to work with you, what are your 5 top tips?
Okay, so tip number 1, the entire building is working for you or against your feng shui.
Yeah.
So don't let clutter or mess build up in any part of it. And I mean any part of it, because lots of businesses, you know, it's all beautiful in the public facing part.
Yeah.
But then behind the scenes, the office or the staff room is kind of an afterthought. It's where everything gets dumped. Same in homes, you know, the junk room, the Monica's cupboard of doom, you know, all of those places are actively working against your feng shui. Clutter and mess, very bad news. Now, the staff in any business are an important asset and they deserve to be treated that way. So ensure your staff areas are clean and welcoming as well. If your staff room, for the sake of argument, is in what we call the career area or the business area of your building, and it looks like a bomb's hit it, and nobody empties the bins, and the paint's peeling and the chairs are broken, that's what you're inviting into your business. So don't do it to yourself. Don't do it to your staff. Understand that energy flow and the feng shui areas are impacting on the business. So, for example, the southeast is all about wealth, income, profit. The west is all about new beginnings, a fresh start, the new energy you want to draw into your business. The Southwest is all about the relationships between your staff. And I'm not talking about them getting it on. I'm talking about how they communicate, how they respond to one another. Are they cohesive and supportive, or is it daggers drawn? So there are all of these different areas. Your travel and helpful friends area, which in a home, you're talking travel and helpful friends, but in a business, this is about your suppliers, the people who come to you, so you want to make sure that all of those areas are really active and supportive of your business. Jump on my website. Somewhere on there will be a bagua that will tell you all of these things. Organize the business so it supports your feng shui. That's, I think, a really, really key thing. You want to make sure that there's a flow of energy around the building and that supports people. They're not having to clamber over stuff or angle their way around things, because that's blocking the energy flow. And then the last top tip is deal with any leaks, drips, blockages in your plumbing, deal with any maintenance issues, anything that's broken. If you've got cracked mirrors or cracked glass on art, if you've got damaged paintwork, deal with it, because you're actually saying to the world, hey, this is what I want. You're inviting in more problems, and this exacerbates the difficulties the business experiences. And particularly with the plumbing issues, that is telling me, if I'm looking around and I'm seeing evidence of leaks, or, whether it's old leaks on a ceiling or whatever, that's telling me that your business is struggling financially. If I'm seeing electrical issues, if you've got bulbs which pop constantly, or, they're flickering, then that is telling me that your staff is at risk of burnout, that your business isn't supporting itself the way it needs to do. So these are all clues that I can spot and say, okay, right, this is giving me extra inside knowledge on what's going on in this building. What do we need to do to sort it out? So those are things that you can absolutely go off this call with your Sunday afternoon and be thinking, right, where are those issues in my business or in my home that might be depleting my energy, my wealth, my relationships, my hope and my future for a successful and business that will grow and really show off to the best of all your abilities what you have created there.
Wow, that is very powerful. It really is. And I know my next question is always about, have you got examples? We've already covered that, but it's also about how do you add value, because you've got massive value in everything that you do, and it is the great examples of what you potentially can do. Can I ask another question as well? That
Sure.
in hotels, because we always have the one room, and all the hoteliers will be going, shh, don't mention that one room. The one room that's the last thing to sell, because it's the one that gives you the complaints, the issues, the problems, and there's always that one room. So is that possible that the rest of the hotels do it very, very well, but that one room isn't? Is that possible to change?
Yeah, absolutely. The first thing to do would be to identify which area, which feng shui area directionally it's in, and compare it. So say for the sake of argument, it's in the east. The east is about the past. So if it's in the east, right, what's happened in the past in this room? Is it where there's been a suicide or a drama or a trauma that energy is hanging around? So then you go in and you clear the energy. I would say in any hotel where, especially if a suicide has occurred in a bed, change the bed.
Yeah.
Because that is going to hang around. It really is. If somebody's been terribly injured, and we know these things happen in hotels. So just be real about the energy that's hanging around, but identify. So take a compass, stand at the front of the building, get your compass directions, work out where in in the space of the compass the room is, and then say, right, okay, what is this reflecting? And if you've got questions, take me for a walk around. I charge such a minuscule amount for a walk around. It's ridiculous, but it's because I want to be accessible to anybody who just wants that half an hour of value and understanding about what's going on in their space. So, you know, book some time with me. But what I will say is I'm not afraid to be blunt, and I will be blunt. If I spot things that are actively working against you or your clients or your business, I'll ask you about them and I'll tell you what they're doing to you. And, you know, that can be the location of the reception desk. It can be something that you've got on the wall. It might be decor or, you know, all kinds of things. And I'll say to you, this is what this is doing. Now, I'm not going to say, you've got to change this. It's your choice if you change it. Of course it is. But if you come at it then with the inside knowledge on what something might be doing to yourself, your clients, your business, your guests, then you have an informed decision to make. And you can choose to do that, or you can choose to go on in your own sweet way. But you don't come back to me 6 months later and say, well, that didn't work. And the first thing I say to you is that picture still on the wall? And you say, yes. Or is that mirror still bouncing the energy right back out of the door? And you tell me, yes, because it's a nice mirror and I don't want to move it. And I'll say, well, you've had your advice, you know? So we'll be very, very clear about what we recommend and why. But it's always your choice whether you activate it, whether you implement. You know, it's you can lead, you know, this with your coaching as well. You can lead somebody to water. You can say, right, this is what will help you to move forward. But if they go, yeah,
I can't be bothered.
Can't be bothered.
then it's not going to work. And it's exactly the same with my coaching. If you don't do exactly what you know we tell you to do, then it's never going to work. You know, and you can't complain 6 months later, because if you've not done it, you've not done it.
Precisely.
Is it on your website, the prices for your walk-arounds? I'm just thinking that people
believe me, it costs £9. It's a Calendly link. £9 is what it will cost me to walk around for 30 minutes. Because actually in that time, and the reason it's priced at that level is I want to make it accessible to everybody. So obviously a lot of my clients, you know, they're not businesses, they're individuals who are struggling in one way of their life or another. You know, they can't get a relationship, money's throwing out the window, whatever. They'll come to me for such a range of reasons. They're getting divorced, they're stuck in the old marital home, and they cannot move on, even if it's 10 years since their husband walked out on them. So many things they'll come to me for. But I want it to be accessible. So I price it the same for everybody. And in that half an hour, I'm also assessing the person and whether I'm willing to work with them. Because it's got to, you've got to work, you've got to be willing to work with the person. And if I think you're just going to say, nah, or make excuses, you know, I did a call with a lovely, lovely, lovely lady. She's amazing. She's dynamic, but we walked around her house and it was, yes, but, no, oh, no, well, because, and it's just like, you're not ready for this. You know, you're telling the world that you want to move on and, you know, you're sick of the way you were treated by your ex-husband, but you're still sleeping in the bed you shared with him and he left you 9 years ago.
Wow.
You know, how are you going to move on if you are still so immersed in the person that you were and in that energy that you lived in and has made you so unhappy? So yes, I am, whilst I do the walk around with people, I'm also assessing whether I feel I can help them. And if I can't, I'll say, I don't think I'm the right person for you, and leave it at that.
And can I ask, so is that £9 for the businesses as well, or is that a different?
Yeah, I'm you know, I can afford to do this. You know, my place is Feng Shui. In April, I'm going to work with a family in Texas. You know, they are paying to fly me to Texas to work with them because of the difference that they're already seeing just 2 weeks after they installed their Feng Shui.
Wow.
I'm off to the south of France in May, potentially somewhere very, very exciting next month, which until that's booked, I'm not going to talk about, but that will just be mind-boggling for me to go to. So, I'm in a position where my Feng Shui is working for me in every way. So I don't have a problem with saying, right, here's your entry level, spend £9, tell me what's going on for you. Let's see what I can do.
So the next question was, if someone sat on the fence, don't sit on the fence, for crying out loud. £9, are you joking? Don't even think about the fence. What would you pass clients? But we've already covered so many people are having massive changes. But for £9, for crying out loud, just book it. And we'll put the calendar link on the end of this interview, if that's all right, Suzanne.
Sure.
Yeah, that'd be
totally.
great. So, talking about how to get in touch with you, £9. Just that again. How do they get in touch with you? What's the best way to get in touch with you?
So the easiest way is always the website, I think, www.interiorsTherapy.com. Make sure you put the S on interiors. And you scroll down a fraction there, it'll say book an inspiration call. That takes you to the Calendly link as well. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on Facebook, and you can find me on LinkedIn as Suzanne Roynon, because you know what it's like. You do your name on LinkedIn. But yeah, there are lots of ways to get me. You can even put Suzanne Roynon into a search engine and you'll find me. You'll probably find about 100 articles because I write for Homes and Gardens and Good Homes and Architectural Digest as well. But yeah, you will find me, and you can decide whether you want your business to thrive some more. Even if your business is brilliant, nobody's going to turn down more success, are they? Just like Oprah and Amazon and George Clooney and Apple. So, and the more Mandarin Oriental. I mean, I love going to the Mandarin Oriental, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Think how good it feels when you walk in there.
Yeah.
There's a hotel in New York, and I'm just trying to remember which one it was. It was massively refurbished during lockdown, and they actually timed its reopening to support the highest level of Feng Shui.
Wow.
That is the time and energy, and lots of hotels won't tell you, oh yes, we have it Feng Shui'd.
Yeah.
Because of course they're so scared of people going, oh, that's very woo woo. No, it's not. It's tapping into this science that has been paying off for thousands of years for the people who are able to access it.
Yeah.
We're right here giving you this kind of open door to access this incredible energy that's available to you. You just choose whether you're going to do that or not. And frankly, it's no skin off my nose whether you do or you don't, but it'll be my pleasure to guide you in the right direction.
Fantastic. Well, we're going to put Suzanne's details at the end of our Showcase Sunday so that you can get in touch. I'll be booking my two £9 calendar links, one for my office and one for my home. But I'm absolutely honoured and I've really enjoyed our Showcase Sunday, Suzanne. Thank you so much for joining me. It'd be great to be able to experience what's happening, in my home and my office. And definitely, and I know we had a quick chat earlier, just saying everybody that don't go tidying up before you do that.
Please don't tidy up before you get me on your call. I want to see the reality, because you might inadvertently tidy something that will tell me such a lot about your home or your business. I'm looking around and I'm reading the writing on the wall for your space. So yeah, don't tidy up, please. I want to see the reality rather than the illusion.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much, Suzanne. And may I wish you a happy Sunday, Suzanne, and everybody else. Happy Sunday, everybody.
Happy
And,
Sunday.
and have an amazing day. Thank you.
Bye now.